You're live.
Oh, hey, hello guys. Welcome to the Three Amigos podcast. I'm here joined by my wonderful co-host and fellow amigo, Mark. Say hi, Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
And my new, other new co-host, New Brian.
Hi, I'm New Brian. Lovely to meet you all.
Excellent.
So, all banter aside, I'm joined by the lovely Naomi Brockwell, who is quite the popular face in the cryptoverse and has lent her very prestigious time.
Is very prestigious, absolutely prestigious. When I'm not busy making ridiculous songs that people have set for me in competitions, then I am here talking to you, lovely folks. So thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
And you're wearing Dash Blue today as well. Fantastic.
Yes,
Was that intentional?
Well, actually, I got a brand new T-shirt over there. It says "The Market Power" on there.
Yes,
so what's the
free the market, empower people?
I love that.
And I'm wearing a version of that in Spanish.
That's awesome.
It's for the Dash Venezuela project, and whenever you buy one of those, $10 worth of Dash goes to the merchant adoption program there. We've already had quite a few sales. Our good old buddy Eric Sammons, who runs Dash Vote Tracker, he put a tweet out of him wearing the shirt, and yeah, it's good stuff. It's good to remember exactly why we do what we do.
Absolutely. And I was actually chatting to Sarah Blinko the other day. So her and I have been putting together a project where we're interviewing people in Venezuela about what's actually going down. Because I know I've reported on this. Years ago, I was on Stussel actually talking about cryptocurrency, saying Venezuela is a place where they're actually doing this. They're mining and they're actually surviving because of cryptocurrency. And then these days, you kind of have these anecdotes thrown around, but we don't really know what's going on there. You know, is it just like, oh, sure, Bitcoin's a lifeline for people in Venezuela? Like, are we just hanging on to the old days when it was? And so she's been interviewing people, and it's so interesting. She's been saying that, like, overwhelmingly, the most important thing for the people in Venezuela are microtransactions, and because they're actually living off cryptocurrency.
Yes,
so I know
of course.
Dash is a big thing there. I think Bitcoin Cash is another one that's being used because it's just so important for them. Like if you're paying, you know, a $3 transaction fee, you know, if it's getting up really high, or let's say you're even paying like 50-cent transaction fee. If they're buying something that costs the equivalent of like 25 cents, which they literally are because they're having to buy every day.
Like gas for your vehicle even.
Right. So it's it's really fascinating, and it's also helpful to just keep in mind, you know, the different use cases for cryptocurrency, why it was created around the world, and the different ways that people are using it. You know, it seems quite different in America how people are using it to places like Venezuela.
It's very cool to see. And in fact, just today we put out an article about there's over 3,000 Dash accepting businesses we've found all around the world that are listed on discoverdash.com, and 1,375 of them are in Venezuela. Almost half of them.
Wow,
so
that's illuminating, isn't it?
Can you imagine just a couple years ago, any cryptocurrency, all cryptocurrencies combined, saying that there's several thousand in the world, but especially like in one country. And now we just have the one spot where people say, well, we need to get in there and help these people. And it's happening. In fact, one thing I've found is the most exciting recently is the Crypt phones. There's some, for those who haven't heard, there's about $60 price point mobile phones that they're selling that are co-branded with Dash in Venezuela, and they come preloaded with Dash wallets, with bit refills, so they can top up their mobile phones and get other gift cards, and they come with Dash paper wallets. And so I've actually seen the pictures of these storefronts in Venezuela that just say Dash on them, Crypt Mobile and Dash. And I'm just saying, I have to like drink enough coffee so that my brain works fast enough to be able to rattle everything I'm excited about the cryptoverse right now happening on it, because there's just so much happening. It used to be when I started writing for Cointelegraph back in 2015, there were some days when just cryptocurrency news in general, I'd be like, slow news day.
This week, someone on mainstream television mentioned it in passing, talking about the nefarious characters that use cryptocurrency. And that's it.
Yes. This week, someone's grandmother had her credit card declined. But if she was using Bitcoin, it wouldn't.
Right. Exactly.
I remember having to try to stretch the news.
Like, shoehorn it in.
Yes. And then early 2017, we started Dash Force News, started writing only about Dash. And I was like, well, I remember those rough days. It's going to be even worse with Dash. There's going to be just one coin of, and now there's just I have to like decide what to report on, what not to report on, because there's just so much just in Dash every single day. It's crazy. Now
We
I've
should
done a little bit
probably
of
explain what's going on. Has Naomi gone to visit you in New Hampshire? What's going on? Because you've got to change the scenery.
I'm here in this place.
This is the new Dash Force office. It's at the top of a 12-story
and I'm
building.
the new CEO of Dash Force.
Yes, she's the
hi,
CEO and treasurer.
And treasurer and emperor. And goddess is my official title. I gave that to myself, actually.
Wow.
Everyone else shut that down, but I'm like, nope, gonna take that.
Just go by Dash Treasure. How about we just stick to that?
Yeah.
No, we are here for the Freecoast Festival. So I am really, really grateful to the team at the Blockchain Institute. They've lent us this amazing space, which is so beautiful, here right in the center of Portsmouth. And so we're doing a live broadcast for you because all the awesome people are here for the Freecoast Festival.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about the conference tonight kicking off.
Yes, absolutely. Dash is the top sponsor. There was a proposal in a few months ago, earlier this year, that I put in to do this, and then now we're having. It's a wonderful festival located here, focusing here on this specific region, New Hampshire. The keynote's going to be on a harbor cruise and things like that. But the parts that I'm excited for are tonight after the initial ceremonies. There's a Dash and Drink, as it's called, on the official schedule at B Bar down the street, so we can pay for our drinks and Dash. And then Saturday night, tomorrow night, there's another Dash and Drink at Liar's Bench.
Nice.
And Mark, do you
I remember that place. It's great.
Yeah, you remember that. You've been there. Do you remember the origin of the word Dash and Drink? Do you want to talk about that a little?
The origin of Dash and Drink.
The word Dash and Drink.
Dash and Drink. I'm having a bit of memory fog right now. It's probably the beers.
Well, I'll jog the memory because, I'll keep you quiet for a little longer. The Dash vending machine at the North American Bitcoin Conference is called Dash and Drink.
Oh, yeah.
So that was when there was that, back in early 2016, that big vending machine that was showcasing how Instant Send makes it worthwhile to be able to buy from a vending machine with crypto without waiting for all those confirmations. And that was called the Dash and Drink. And so just as a little homage to that, we call this the Dash and Drinks.
That's cool. And Mark, it was I actually met you in person for the first time here in New Hampshire. Was it July? June that we had PorkFest there. So it does seem like New Hampshire is this kind of bastion of crypto use. It's definitely seems to be the hub of cryptocurrency in America, as far as I can see. New York, I had high hopes. We had the Bitcoin Center. I started working there like 2012, 2013. I was like, yes, this is going to take over Wall Street. We were like, really excited that there were alternatives. And then the Bit license came in and destroyed all of my hopes. It dashed all of my hopes, if you will. And now it seems like New Hampshire, everyone's like, let's go to the place where their motto is live free or die, hey? Because that seems pretty cool. And you come here, they have the ye old Bitcoin shop, which is just delightful up the street. Then they have the Blockchain Institute here, where they train people up, and it's like a meeting place for people who work in cryptocurrency. And it's so many stores. Like there's a map at the shop where they actually show all of the different merchants in Portsmouth itself that accept cryptocurrency. A lot of people accept Dash here. Like it's really exciting for cryptocurrency. And it's just nice to be around people who get it, because they don't get it in New York.
Yeah, it's funny how a lot of people look towards big data centers and like big population centers. We have a lot of developers and think, oh, this is where it's going to happen first. In fact, someone just came to the meetup last night, the local Liberty meetup in Dover, and he's moving here from San Francisco to be part of the crypto scene, and he's a Lightning Network developer for Bitcoin. And so he's just like into trying to make Bitcoin usable for everyday payments. And he just in San Francisco, which I'm sure has a lot of tech people like him, but he comes here and he's like, whoa, it's everywhere. Like I got to be here, like be on the ground where this is all happening. And so it is very exciting to have like a lot of people come. And one reason I targeted the Freecoast Festival specifically is because I want to get people to Portsmouth, because it's easy to go like, let's all have libertarian training camp up in the mountains once a year and pretend let's play with our little funny money. But but then you come to just a regular town that most people would want to visit for other reasons other than cryptocurrency. You just walk in and get a pint and pay in Dash, and there you go. It's
yeah.
like, it says like people need to see this because people are still under this whole like, well, when is Starbucks going to take it? And I just heard that this, and then there's this big, and look, we're working on our crypto debit card so we can use the dinosaur fiat money to pay with cryptocurrency. And it just like, what year is it? 2012? Like, this actually exists. It's just like you're finding the promised land almost, except, you know, I happen to be lucky enough to live here.
Do people on your show, do they know the story of New Hampshire and why that's like a freedom-oriented place? They know about the Free State Project and
Probably
stuff?
A lot of them.
Probably. Because it might be worthwhile just letting people know that, like I first heard about New Hampshire from, I was at a Students for Liberty conference about 6 years ago, and they had these tables set up, and they were like, Free State Project. And I'm like, what is this? This sounds weird. And there was like a petition, and I'm like, petitions, you know, what do they ever achieve? Or it was like some sort of a contract, or like, I didn't really get it. But they were saying, listen, if we can get enough people to sign this, if we get a certain number, then we will trigger a move. And I'm like, trigger a move? I said, yes. Then the people who signed the contract will be required within the next 5 years to move to this place. It's a place called New Hampshire. And it's a place where we're trying to basically channel a bunch of liberty-minded people so that we could perhaps reach a tipping point when it comes to legislative power, or getting people into office, you know, changing tax rules or regulations, occupational licensing, all of that. Let's try and get something moving and just focus on one area in particular so that we can actually make a difference rather than having people who are interested in liberty just dispersed, you know, everywhere. And so I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. So I signed my name, not thinking anything, just like, sure, good on you guys and good luck with that. And anyway, they got enough signatures on this contract. They reached the thing, and
over 20,000.
Yeah, this triggered I think 2016, and since then people have started moving, and there are a whole heap of people who moved here. A lot of people like Manchester, Portsmouth, like all over New Hampshire, and they're all people who, you know, they're interested in cryptocurrency, they're interested in freedom, they're interested in, you know, getting the government out of our back pockets and out of our bedrooms and out of our you know, the overreach that we're seeing in a lot of our lives. So it's just really nice to come to a place and be like, oh, wow, there are people here who get it, and people here who are using cryptocurrency everyday life. You can walk into, as you said, pubs, and you can pay with Dash. It's just really exciting.
Yeah, it's worth noting. So the pledge that people sign was, I pledge to make my fullest practical effort to move within 5 years of 20,000 total people pledging to move. And once here, I will advance freedom however I see fit. It's not like I will join the cult. I will register in this.
I will go to Freedom
Army.
Church.
I'll get to the camps. I'll go crawl through the mud with an AK-47. Like, no, none of that. Just you'll come here and advance freedom however you see personally fit. And
some people just move here and advance freedom in their own lives by just realizing that this is a less intrusive place, and they just kind of live, and that's enough for them.
Of course.
But it doesn't come with one thing, though. It doesn't come with a green card, as we found out at Porkfest.
It does. I'm still looking for a wife for you, though. So I'm hunting so that you can move over here too, Mark. I'm on it. Don't worry. Don't worry. If there are any eligible ladies out there, you just drop me a line. I'm doing a bit of matchmaking at the moment to get the poor Brit over here so he can enjoy some freedom as well, because England's not looking too good right now. I'm just going to come out and say it there, Mark. You've got your work cut out for you.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I went to postgraduate school in England, and England's never looked that good in terms of the weather. In terms of the weather. It's but I get the whole, like,
and plus it's filled with British people, so that's another issue, you know?
Wow, I can't help that, I'm afraid. Well, let's get back to the Freecoast
I love England. I love Britain. I just wish that there were less bad policies, because it's a shame to see such an awesome place, such awesome people being, you know, I feel subjugated in some way by bad government policy.
Exactly.
Government's bad everywhere. So what's going on today? Is it just the cruise, or are you guys talking?
No, that's tomorrow.
What are you up to?
So there was this location, this co-working space, event space, etc., called the Praxium that was here. That was kind of a hub of all the crypto activity before this place was created. And that place since does not exist anymore. And now there's a Prax 2.0, Praxium 2.0 that's being unveiled in Dover tonight. And so that's where the beginning of this festival kind of kicks off, is like, look, we built a whole extra space. We own the actual property it's on. It's just all kinds of nefarious things are going to go on here or whatever. Wonderful plotting.
Actually, can we invite Derek into the chat, who runs the Bitcoin Institute here? Hop in here and say hi. We're like
Mr. Anypay.
How much we love this space. It's just a really cool place to be, and Portsmouth is a really cool place to be exploring.
Yeah, good to see you guys. How are you?
Yeah, Derek, great to see you, man.
You were just talking about Dash.
I love Dash. I use it all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So Derek is one of the people involved with the AnyPay project.
So the people right next door, the business is a coffee shop. I'm always able to get breakfast and coffee with Dash. It's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really
It's kind of like our test bed of testing out AnyPay.
That's cool. So
I
really love the outreach. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Is that Fizzy Wigs you're talking about?
Yeah.
She's been there before.
Yeah.
Love that place.
I thought when we arrived, there was like a lady wearing some fancy hats and all dressed up. And I was like, ooh, this looks like my kind of place.
Yeah.
That's just how Mark dresses when the cameras are off.
Yeah, it's true. It's close to the weekend, so.
But, we just wanted to say thank you, Derek, for helping us out with this space and letting us be here, and all the outreach that you guys are doing with getting merchants to accept cryptocurrency and teaching them like, no, actually, it's really easy. And you will get a lot of customers, because there are a lot of people who've moved to New Hampshire who want the opportunity to spend cryptocurrency. Like, I know that you, Joelle, like, don't you live entirely within?
Yes, I have no bank.
Yeah, it's
You're welcome. It's totally selfish that I've been building products that make it easy to use cryptocurrency to pay for stuff in real life, because actually that's something that I like to do too. And it's
this is the thing I want
important.
to do. How do I make this a reality?
Hey, I gotta go.
All right.
Okay, it was good to see you.
He's out of here, but
we're still here.
We sure are.
So if you guys got like a keynote speech, and can you say what you're going to be talking about?
Yes, so I'm going to be talking tomorrow about Dash, of course, and Naomi's also talking about stuff.
I'm talking about the things. So I'll be talking about how to crypto if you're an artist. So my background is in film production, TV production, and I have been exploring the world of all kinds of different cryptocurrency platforms recently. I started out with Bitcoin, obviously. And then from there, just learning about different currencies, and then learning about new platforms like Steemit. And then you've got all these new things popping up, like, Minds.com, you've got library.io, you've got memo.cash, you've got, they're just like, there are a whole heap of them out there, and just sort of testing different platforms. So I want to introduce people to all the different ways that if they're a content creator of some type, they make videos or write articles or make songs, then there are places for them on the internet where people are willing to give, small donations to say, hey, thank you. And you can actually make a sustainable living if you're a creative type, which is not easy if you're an artist. Like, living in the existing world, people might say, well, it's really difficult navigating this world of cryptocurrency and all these different platforms, and I don't know anything about it, it's too hard. No, what's hard is living as an artist in the traditional financial system, where you have all these gatekeepers, and the only way to distribute your content is by going through gatekeepers and publishing houses and producers and production studios and all of these people who like hold the reins. So just teaching them, like, no, there's been this entire democratization of distribution going on, and just teaching people about the different options, I think is quite helpful.
Well, fun fact, so everyone has stories, for example, like what got them into Bitcoin in the first place. And obviously for me, I was a big precious metals guy, and then I just heard about something that did the same thing as precious metals as far as like my values were concerned, but it was in sound money, but it was just so easy to use. You could send anywhere and it clicked. This is peer-to-peer digital cash. This is what works. And so what clicked for me specifically with Dash, other than, I always kind of heard about other coins in the background. Oh, this one's got good privacy. This one's got this. Oh, I like the instant transaction thing. That sounds cool. And I just obviously was just focused on Bitcoin because it was the big thing, and was getting sad when the fees started to go up and the blocks got, took the confirmation times went up. And then what it was is I was looking for a way to, I was looking a way for people to do activism in a busking sort of way. to where they see you out there making a difference, and then they just sort of tip you while doing that. And so think about the musician playing on the street, busking with like, and thinking like, how would you pay that guy with crypto? And so the two things that really got to me were when I heard about this big upcoming for years evolution platform for Dash to allow usernames, so you could just send to the guy's username, just say, at the crazy guitarist, be like, oh, I'm going to send him some. And the other one is be protocol level recurring payments, because I was thinking Patreon, everyone does like a Patreon type thing, but that's like a centralized service that you need to bill your credit card, et cetera, et cetera. And there aren't really good recurring, like as far as I know, no trustless protocol level recurring payment options with cryptocurrency. And that was one of the big things that Dash was going to do. And I was saying, like, how easy would it be for you to say, hey, do you like the crazy guitar stuff I play? Will you buy me a coffee a week as an expression of your appreciation for my art? And then just $2 worth of Dash comes out of the wallet every week. And then you just get enough of those, and all of a sudden you got like an income going on, and you don't have to trust any third party that might shut you down or something like that. Like, we've seen Alex Jones get purged off of Twitter, and there's not a lot I held in common with Alex Jones.
Don't get us kicked off YouTube now.
My barrel-like frame.
Don't you like to like shout at people really aggressively all the time?
I actually do. Wait for the after party after I do that.
Yeah.
But so that's exactly what took me. Well, I was like, Dash is working on this. I don't know anyone else who's working on this exact thing who gets it. And so I just went all in. And so I have a feeling that like artists are like almost one of the edge cases, almost like the unbanked. In many cases, there's like the Venn diagram where they overlap, right? But if you can make a financial system that really works for them, then it's solid.
Same for Venezuela, right? Naomi, there's some questions in the live chat. Would you mind if I asked you a couple?
It depends what they are. Throw me softballs, Mark.
They're all PG, don't worry. Someone was just kindly asking, just saying, hey, like, what's Naomi up to now? And is it possible if she could give a update on the Hard Fork series?
I sure can. So at the moment, I am up to the Hard Fork series. It's been going amazingly well. That's, if people don't know about it, it's a TV series that I'm producing at the moment. Awesome team behind it. Great people from the tech side as well as the creative side. And we've just been, plugging away. We're actually pitching to distributors soon. So that's getting really exciting, and everything's going really well with the script. So that's just being honed over and over. We're just getting further and further with different iterations of that. So that's been really exciting to see. I haven't actually been part of the writing process. I've been asked. I asked specifically to be kept out of that. I've worked on a lot of TV shows or films in the past where you can become so just surrounded with the story that you kind of lose your way, and you start to miss where there's plot holes, and you start you're too close to it. And so I asked, like, okay, don't send me anything until you're at like the final stage of that. So I've been like piecemeal getting these snippets from this, and it's almost like this is being released back in the day before you had Netflix throwing everything at you once. This is like I'm being given these like episodes every once in a while, and I'm like, send me the next one, and that's how I know that it's good. Like if I'm like, I want to know what happens next. So it's getting really, really exciting, and we've got some interesting things happening on the game side as well. So people who don't know this, the series is about this this future where everything is based on blockchain tech, but it's this centralized blockchain tech. We have this totalitarian government that is running everything. It's the centralized blockchain, and
so basically, it's a world in which Ripple rules.
Exactly.
Obligatory Ripple joke.
Unless you're in Venezuela, and then you've got the petro.
Yes.
Interchangeable there, depending on the country, and yes, so this world where the people who don't want their every purchase tracked and their heart rate monitored and the information stored in this centralized blockchain and analyzed by this government controlled AI, if people who don't want to be part of the system, what do? So it's the story about this decentralized faction who comes in and tries to break all of that apart. And so what's interesting about this world is that it's sort of a world where the people are like distracted constantly by the government. I know this seems so far-fetched and nothing like you would experience today, where the media just seems to be there for entertainment value, and we're constantly being, fed red flags so that we're like, oh, look over here while all this other stuff's going on.
What is that orange dude doing today? I haven't seen anything.
Exactly.
I haven't seen my updating my
Oh,
fix.
I know. It's like, what has Trump tweeted at 3 o'clock, yesterday? Let me check my tweets. Like, that's the most important thing in the world. And so it's a world where the people are constantly being distracted. Everything in the world is gamified and everything is like AR. So the characters go through with like the AR tracking and their goggles, and they're constantly just like playing all of these games all the time. Just like, it's just relentless.
It sounds like Matrix crossed over with 1984, but in the sci-fi
and like
world.
Mixed with Candy Crush or something, and so it's this world. So we actually are releasing in tandem with our show when it sets off. We're actually releasing a game alongside that, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
What kind of game is it going to be? Like a point-and-click adventure, or
much information about that, but just know that Hard Fork Entertainment is the company that's basically running these two different things in tandem, and it's been pretty awesome. Also, figuring out how they influence each other is another exciting part, which I can't talk too much about, but keep your eyes out for more news on that.
Integrated with Dash.
Oh, well, that's to be seen. We will have to.
Let me just preface that with there was a project that ran for about a year or so. How much long did Dash.Red run? Was that a year or under a year?
I want to say it's probably over a year now, just over a year, I think.
My friend Edward, who was also there at PorcFest, he used to run this online. It's like a gamified faucet, like you play like Candy Crush type game.
I chatted with that guy. It was cool.
And then he was responsible for like a good chunk of transactions on the Dash network, onboarding new users through that process.
That's cool.
And so he's thinking of relaunching in a big kind of better way, especially when we have a lot more people that are looking to get into this. And it's like, well, how do you get your first stuff without having to like put down your credit card on an exchange or whatever and try to like buy some? Like, how do you get some and start using it in a non-intimidating way, but not in a faucet? You just like open the faucet and you just like, how do you actually get involved? So
yeah, that's always fascinating, isn't it? Because like
throwing you business opportunities and stuff right there.
It's like interesting the different mentalities that happen depending on how you get involved. Like if I exchange my fiat for Dash, it's a very different feeling to if I work and earn Dash, which is a very different feeling to if I play a game and get rewarded Dash. Like they're all just completely different mindsets, and that sort of prefaces or dictates in a way how you then treat this digital asset. It's actually very interesting, and also seeing the different currencies and different platforms and the way they introduce things like Steam It, where I haven't bought a single Steam token, and yet I have Steam just from creating content. I through Dash, just like different proposals and different people paying me for certain things. Like it's just very interesting how the different ecosystems work and people are onboarded.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting to see because a lot of the muggles, a lot of the the non-magical folk seem to think that cryptocurrency is a purely win Lambo type thing of Bitcoin's down, it's over. Oh, Bitcoin's going up, I better get some.
I need a Lambo.
It's just very much like my precious, a little like shiny thing that you get, and then it's gonna like take you to the moon somewhere. And then there was a lot of that in South Korea, I heard, during the big boom and bust, with a lot of people saying like, oh, this was what was gonna get me ahead. I was gonna buy some, and then I was gonna be able to retire, get like a better. And it's like that was that purely investment vehicle based thing. But then, and that's extremely foreign to me because I've always been sort of, the crazy broke person working on idealistic things. And I don't think I've ever bought a single bit of crypto in my life. I think I've only ever worked for it.
That's
so just gotten it for income, sold it to some people, spent it on other things, and just the consummate user. It's just interesting to see that like stuff that I care, like some people say, oh man, it's down, the market's so terrible, what are you going to do? And I'm like, my perspective is it sends and receives the same way as it always has.
Right.
And then I don't realize that other people are like, well, I put in my fiat into this, and now my fiat is worth like 1/10 of what it used to.
Yeah.
And I'm freaking out, and I can't wait another year or whatever.
Well, I know you guys have got to bounce soon because you've got another video to do because you're very popular people, right?
All the videos.
But if I may, just quickly, I'd just like to pass on a compliment and then one final question, and then I'll let you go on your merry way. First off, I'll start with the compliment. So Bill says, that beautiful red-haired woman convinced me to adopt Dash as digital cash. So, wow, that's a nice compliment.
Bill,
and
you're lovely.
Bill. Yep. So perhaps we should rename you to Naomi Brockwell, a.k.a. Dash Girl. I don't know how Amanda will feel about that.
And the redhead woman.
And just on a side note about that, I started calling myself Bitcoin Girl back when there was just Bitcoin, basically. And I since tried to actually change, and it was even more contentious because it was before, like way before Bitcoin hard fork, so before Bitcoin Cash. And so my Facebook address for my page was BTC Girl because Bitcoin Girl was already taken. Yeah. So then I was like, oh my God, did I just become partisan? I don't want to be partisan, girl. I did. But I changed that to Naomi Brockwell TV. And then I tried to change my name from Bitcoin Girl to Naomi Brockwell or Naomi Brockwell TV. And they wouldn't let me. So I'm forever Bitcoin Girl, according to Facebook.
Well, you better start changing the ticker there. I mean, because even if you want to say, hey, why don't I be Bitcoin Cash Girl? Then you could be Bitcoin Cash ABC Girl, Bitcoin Cash.
Exactly. Satoshi's Vision Girl, Bitcoin Cash Unlimited, because that has nice like ring to it. Yes. Naomi Brockwell Unlimited.
Yes.
Something.
Right.
It's very tricky.
Unlimited Brockwell.
I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. Someone just put in the comment, anything but Monero Girl. Sorry. Well, that's quite funny. The question was, and I don't know if they will be able to answer this because it sounds like the video game's still in its infancy, but someone's asked, does Naomi know if the game will be able to integrate Dash as actually in payments in the game? Or...
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hinting.
So I can't talk about the game side of things, and we're still working out details on that. But there will definitely be a cryptocurrency element, and what kind of like token or use, and how easy it is to integrate different payment forms still to be seen. But I will definitely keep you posted. I mean, we love Dash at the Hard Fork series. If anyone doesn't know, like they're a big sponsor of the show. We put in a proposal 2017.
Yes.
Yep.
And it passed. And I was like in Australia, like refreshing, and I think the team in America, it was like the middle of the night there. So I'm not sure how many of them were away, but I was there like refreshing and refreshing.
How many Dash colored grayish hairs does he have?
I know, exactly. All of us were like, it's down to the wire. What's gonna happen? But it went through, and it's like just been the most amazing process.
That has to be an element in the show now that there's like some arbitrary blockchain voting deadline that's counting down like 24 slabs.
So how many votes do we have?
Like we got a whale come in last second. What are we doing? Oh.
It's all down to Mark. What's he gonna vote?
It's all down to Brian. He can swim, make or break the proposal. What's he gonna do?
Exactly. No, but this has been wonderful chatting with you. And thanks for letting me on the show. This has been awesome.
Yes, it's sorry to bail out early, but I know I trust the rest of the show to Mark's capable monologuing hands. And
Mark,
his
please monologue away.
Impressive Lex Luthor brain.
Absolutely.
Lex Luthor crypto tapping in right now. One Punch Man coming in strong. Have a fantastic time, guys. Thank you for stopping by and talking. And Naomi, I hope this isn't the only time you stop by. You're always welcome on the show. And I have a feeling we'll be seeing you again very shortly.
That sounds wonderful. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Excellent. Take care, guys. Enjoy yourselves.
Stay dashy.
Stay dashy, guys.
And then we stay here awkwardly for a little bit till it leaves.
No.
Yep. Right. I'm now on my lonesome. So I actually have someone else to join me in the second half of the podcast. But if anyone has any questions in the live chat, please feel free to chip in. Hey, speaking of which, Joshua, my main man, my savior, thank you so much for joining me. So last minute as well. I really appreciate you stepping in, mate. How's it going?
It's my pleasure. It's going great.
Oh, mate, I feel like I've not spoken to you in a
through
while.
all right? Yeah, it has been a little bit.
Yeah, it has been a
I
while.
asked because I just got a fancy new webcam.
Yeah, you're looking pretty sharp there. What did you get? Did you get a Logitech or
something cheap? The webcam that I had before was really, really terrible. It was one of these little $10 jobbies you can get on Amazon. And now I've got like the lowest tier of the ones that are made this decade. Wow,
man. That's how the Dash developers do it these days, right? Right. I've got so many things I could ask you, but we had a Dash business strategy call yesterday. But there was something I want to ask you because you're quite an open book, and I feel like I can ask you anything. And I've noticed a few comments in the Dash community recently where there seems to be a minority of people questioning all the focus on Venezuela right now, where they're like, we shouldn't be focusing on Venezuela. Like, there's no money there. We should be focusing on the westernized world. How do you feel about that? Do you think focusing on Venezuela is like a lost cause? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think that Dash is ultimately for everybody. But right now, the people who are hurting the most with the existing financial systems are in developing countries like Venezuela, Turkey, Zimbabwe, where their existing financial systems are just failing them really badly. So I think that they are a huge opportunity for us to serve them with real world use. And I think that those groups will be maybe a little bit more tolerant of the sort of bleeding edge nature of things than your regular consumer will be. But that's not to say that that we're ignoring people in other groups. Like, there's other reasons that somebody would be willing to adopt tech early while it's still kind of being smoothed out. And that's, early adopters in the United States. That's basically our whole audience right now on this call. I mean,
yeah,
everybody who's in here is like an enthusiast for cryptocurrencies to some extent, or maybe they just like our beautiful faces, but mostly they're enthusiasts, I think. And so we're serving both of those, but I think the reason we're focusing so much on Venezuela isn't like we're the guys that are going to come in and fix the problem. It's more like we have a solution that they're hungry for. And I think that's the reason that we're focusing on them so much.
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel with Venezuela, it's such a unique case. I mean, Bitcoin's nearly been around for a decade now. And all this, not anti-government, but it's kind of like all us enthusiasts know about central banking. And this is the first real case in cryptocurrency, I feel, since Bitcoin. I mean, we saw Cyprus, and that really actually put Bitcoin on the map in 2013. But since then, Cyprus is like the real cryptocurrency test. So even if you're watching this and you hold a bag full of different cryptos, Venezuela is the real test to see whether you sink or swim, because it's the first time you've got a country that has central banking and central planning that has failed. So if your solution, if your cryptocurrency of your choosing is meant to replace the legacy banking system, and it's not viable in a place like Venezuela where they're in dire straits, then that's the reality check that you need to see. And the thing I love about Venezuela right now is the free market. Yes, we've had people in Venezuela on the ground submit proposals, but we didn't ask them to do it. They wanted that solution. I'm sure if there was a better solution out there, whether it's just decentralized governance or the features and functionality, they would have done that. How do you feel the same about like Venezuela being like the ultimate cryptocurrency test in terms of feasibility and real world use?
Yeah, the people who are using Dash in Venezuela are using it to replace money, like real money. They're using it to do transactions. It's not an experiment or a toy for them. And that makes it a much stronger test of our mettle than somebody who's using it as an enthusiast. Because like, if I download a wallet, I'm like playing around with it a little bit. If it has a problem, it doesn't ruin my day. Most likely it doesn't ruin my day. This is crypto, so you can ruin your own day if you really try. But like someone in Venezuela who's trying to do a transaction, they depend on this, and it's more vital for them than it is for us. So we don't want to let them down. Yeah,
I agree 100%. And just I mean, we're getting like 25 merchants a day now in Venezuela on the website on average. It's ridiculous. And these aren't Mickey Mouse businesses, merchants either. And they're all vetted, they're all verified. So just for those watching and listening on Discover Dash, although we're always pushing out like new numbers, when you submit a listing, it doesn't get published straight away. It goes to pending because we have to verify that that merchant actually accepts Dash first, because as you can imagine, we get spam and all sorts of things as well. So all those numbers that you see, there's always other businesses pending that we're still waiting to approve. So like we're close to 3,000 businesses on discoverdash.com right now. And these last few months, the surge, it really is exponential. It is like a hockey stick. It's phenomenal. But yeah, okay. While I've got you on, that we haven't had that many Dash Core people on recently, but I can't get this out of my mind. We had the Dash Embassy folks on last week, and they were talking about Dash Ventures and possibilities. And they were like saying about the potential to buy into an ATM company. So literally all the transactions that these ATM companies do, whether they're providing, Bitcoin Cash or anything else, we basically profit from that. And I just thought it was such a fantastic idea. I haven't been able to get it out of my head. Have you had much more thoughts about Dash Ventures or any ideas for yourself?
Man, I've been working more heads down than usual. So I'm a little out of touch with the news and that kind of thing. So I haven't looked closely at Dash Ventures. I like the idea though. It makes sense. You have this decentralized network, and there's this idea that, it doesn't just have to be we spend money and we hope we get results back, that maybe there's more that the network can do than that. So I'm excited to see like what the possibilities are, but I haven't given it a lot of deep thought.
Yeah.
I know it's a little disappointing.
No, not at all. That's the exciting thing, because it is still in its infancy and we still are awaiting details. But in some ways, it's like evolution. It's what you make of it, right? It's like a blank canvas. So all these ideas are great. Now, obviously, I think we're going to need more of a treasury to make some of these business ideas come to life. However,
just in terms of like financial debt, like how much money there is, or are you talking about the price going up or something different?
Well, yeah. So the price going up obviously helps the Dash DAO treasury, but the Dash Embassy guys kind of presented an interesting case by saying, perhaps Dash funded organizations don't always have to be dependent on Dash treasury funding for longevity. If they could invest, say, for example, in this ATM venture, they could be self-sustaining from the income from that. And it brings a whole new angle, whether it's Dash Ventures or a Dash Trust. And I still don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, because one of the things that attracted me to Dash was because of the decentralized governance, that we do get to have a say. If we have all these Dash funded organizations that all of a sudden that funded from outside of that, then the network doesn't really have that much consensus. Can you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, definitely.
I love the ATM idea though. I'm crossing my fingers. I think that's great. But so there's so much raw potential. Right. There's been a lot of FUD articles in the past week. I know you've been keeping your head down working, so I'll clue you in. So there's been a few articles. One that were just some journalists not doing the right research, or they're just being opportunistic FUDsters, just playing off the media. So basically, you remember there was last proposal cycle, there was a proposal to demote Ryan Taylor that failed miserably, spectacularly. Yeah. But there was a number of opportunistic journalists that tried to maximize that effect to build, for an audience and, create hysteria out of it, right? Now, they're using that as a weapon, but I actually see that as a good thing, because it's actually a great example of our decentralized governance, because it's saying, well, look, actually, we're not dependent on leaders here. And look, it just shows you that our network does has consensus and it comes together. So like, I felt like it was an advertising billboard. I know there's a lot of people upset, and I know that a lot of these journalists, it is an issue of credibility, and I see comments in these articles, and I'm with you as well. I'm frustrated. It's our job to wake these people up, but at the same time, Joshua, the more people that just throw mud at Dash, the people that when they actually look behind the curtain, they realize it's actually the complete opposite and a lot more. What do you think?
Yeah, I've thought this for a long time, that in general, people who are writing stuff on the internet, you have this temptation to kind of underestimate the audience. And when you're in an exchange with somebody and they're flinging mud, or they're trying to like explain to everybody how this is all terrible, a lot of times their own explanation reveals their motives or reveals their perspective on things. And I think people see that. Like when a journalist comes in and they're like, Dash is complete garbage, you know, the only thing that they can do is they can only fill in things that the audience doesn't already know. As soon as they say something that the audience already has like an established understanding of, they can compare now that person's perspective and their own. So the more that people kind of understand what Dash is, the less effect somebody coming in and trying to like explain and frame it a certain way has on things. I think that we're getting closer to the point to where any publicity is good, because the bad publicity still points people towards the good publicity as they dig in.
Yeah, and I have to say, August was a phenomenal month in terms of like Dash exposure. We were all over the place. We had so many placements. I actually think it was the best month on record that we've ever had. So you know, we were everywhere. But there was, I think recently there was a few more articles, and they're kind of like fear mongering. They're like the ultimate FUD articles saying that Dash Core
like
money.
The one that was like cryptocurrency is never going to catch on, that whatever that one was.
There was a couple of fear stories saying that the Dash Core team is going to run out of funding because of the Dash price going down. And I saw a couple of YouTubers pick up on this story, and I'm like, no, have a look at the project. Like, you know, at that time when I was replying to them, like, we've got over $1 million US per month per cycle. I could just name any other cryptocurrency in the top 10. What's their monthly budget? Oh, they're dependent on third-party external funding and donations. See the difference here. Plus, if you just look, everything's on public record. You can look at Dash Decentral and look at all our proposals. And we're not just funding Dash Core, we're funding other proposals and stuff as well. Of course, the price coming down makes everything more competitive. Even Dashforce had a proposal last month, and we've had to, you know, scale back a little bit. But that's just the way the market goes. But it just proves the longevity of Dash. So, like, can you just let everyone know, like, your job's not in jeopardy? Like, Dash Core is absolutely fine. Right? Yeah,
I don't think that my job's in jeopardy. I know that I'm providing value. I'm working on a team that's providing solid value, and I certainly don't think that my job's in jeopardy.
Yeah.
If Dash goes to $5, I may get a pay cut. Like,
my point being, though, there was there wasn't called Dash Core Group Inc. then. I mean, that's more of a recent thing. But there's always been a Dash Core team, even when Dash was, you know, God, I remember, was it 2016 Christmas when it went to like $7 and everyone was celebrating? Like, there was, so they're not just going to disappear. And Dash isn't dependent on individuals. It's self-sustaining, it's self-governing, it's self-funding. You know, Dash Core Group is a Dash-funded organization, right?
Yeah, even if Dash Core Group itself makes bad decisions and, like, you know, drives Dash Core Group out of favor with the masternodes and just wrecks everything, the network itself still exists and still has the same incentives, and somebody will want to step in because of the financial incentive, and will be available to the network to do the job that the Dash Core Group theoretically wouldn't be doing at that point.
Yeah,
that's the kind of the stick on the other end of things that keeps us. I mean, I don't think that anyone here is like doing a good job out of fear, but that's kind of there also. Like, if somebody were to be part of Dash Core Group and be like, how can I twist this for my benefit? That stick is waiting for them, that, you know, maybe somebody else will come in and do a better job if you're doing a bad job.
It's exactly. And it's the same within Dashforce and Dash Core, right? We're all essentially contractors. We're always working to timelines, and we know we always have to submit new proposals. So we know we always have to constantly deliver and bring on new things. So, you know, we had the new DIP 5 for blockchain users. That sounds amazing.
I'm so happy about DIP 5. That write-up is it blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for a long time. I
just helped edit another DIP or another blog post that's explaining one of the upcoming ones. I can't wait.
Yeah? Oh, dude, you can't. Is this top secret stuff, or is this the build-up?
I guess this is the build-up. But, like, what I'm saying is, like, these write-ups, they continue to get more exciting because they're not about the low-level stuff anymore. They're about, like, what kind of stuff can you do now that we have the foundation? And I find it very exciting.
Yeah.
I had a sort of a personal first today. I did a search for something that wasn't Dash related, and a Dash headline was at the top of the search results.
Was it Dashforce News?
No. So I was trying to find out what is the name for a term There's a thing that's called the intransigent percentage of a population. Basically, if there's a small group of a population that has a strong preference against something, and for everybody else that thing is optional, then their preference takes hold for the culture. That's why like 99% of drinks are kosher, for instance. Like, I couldn't care less whether a drink is kosher, but there's somebody who does care, and it doesn't materially change the drink most of the time. So most drinks are kosher, because that gets you that extra 3 or 4% or whatever it is that cares about that a lot. And that I searched for the term mass adoption intolerant percent, because I didn't remember the word intransigent. And at the top of the list, they couldn't find the word intolerant, but the top of the list, the entry was Dash mass adoption to rise significantly with coin flip ATM partnership.
Wow. So I'm curious, what made you want to search for that thing? What did you have in your mind? What made you think, okay, I know, I'm going to search for that? That sounds very specific.
It was like I was deep in some Twitter conversation thing. One of the things that I do when I'm not working is I go deep into like these Twitter conversations, and I get ready to write a reply, and then I go, you know what, maybe I won't step in this particular cow pie, and then I delete my answer. But I learn a bunch of stuff in the meanwhile and get exposed to a lot of like alternate perspectives on things. So I was trying to remember the term and was just deep in like little research spree.
Yeah. Well, I had a look at the GitHub today for 12.4, and I noticed every day the percentage is going up. It's getting closer. I think it's in the 90% now area, so it's getting close. So although we can't say concrete, it'll be great to get that out by the end of the month, just to just keep everyone happy. But, you know, at the same time, things have to be reviewed, right? I mean, I don't use GitHub. I'm not a developer in that sense. So when I look at GitHub, I don't understand a lot of things, so I'm still actually getting familiar with it. So when I look at the 12.4 GitHub repository, I see like the outstanding issues, and then they get submitted, and then they have to be reviewed, right? Do you know how that review process works? Is there like a few people that have to oversee that? Is there like a proper quality assurance thing, or is that out your scope?
Well, so the review process that I see is just on my team on the front end stuff. So some of the teams use GitHub for that, and most of us use Jira for keeping that kind of thing organized. So we're using Agile. We're using it's not fully 100% Scrum, because it's altered a little bit due to the fact that we're all fully remote, but we have tasks that we track throughout the whole life cycle of, you know, it's in the backlog, it's being worked on, it's done, it's going through QA, that kind of stuff. And the tasks, we kind of keep things organized. Okay. On our team, we've been doing video calls at 8 a.m. my time, and I've been working heavily with somebody we hired pretty recently who does React Native named Kreshnik. I wanted to get him on to do an introduction, but unfortunately, although he was kind of enthusiastic about the idea, when I asked him, it was at like 10:30 p.m. for him, because he's in a wildly different time zone. But I've had a good time working with him, and his React Native expertise has been really helpful.
So just for those that are less tech savvy, the React, so this is what the front end's being built on. And this is like, apparently this is the way to go. Like Jeff H from Dash Nexus is, you know, really fond of this as well. Just saying like, it's the way forward. This is how you should build things, because it enables you to scale it from devices, right? If you build in React, then, you know, it'll work on the web base, mobile, tablet, everything. And it just seems like a much more straightforward way of doing things. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, the point of using React Native was that it lets us build once and have it run on Android and iOS, which is really great.
So it sounds like everything on the front end is going pretty good at the moment.
It's moving right along, yeah.
Excellent. I can't wait.
And as I hear it, the back end stuff is coming along really well too. Right now, I haven't had to work real heavily lately with the back end guys, but I keep hearing, you know, that the progress is continuing. And I'm really excited for when we've got enough front end that we start plugging the back end into it and working on like actual transactions and things.
Yeah, because I guess you're kind of a bit, although, you know, I'm sure there's many things that you could be working on. You guys have kind of got to wait to 12.4 to kick in so we can get these blockchain users, so you can actually start to play around with that, actually functionality wise. I guess you're kind of using like a virtual environment to mimic that right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have we have a library that interfaces with the Dash API, and that library, you know, we made it so that it's very easy to mock as if a backend exists with hard-coded data and things like that. So that part's not a problem. And once the backend actually exists, instead of hitting mocks, we'll be hitting actual blockchain.
It's a very simple and straightforward thing to say, but I'm very happy that you said that the Dash Pay app will be kind of, by building it on React, it'll be the same experience on iOS and Android. Because when it comes to tutorials and setting people up, right now with the Android Dash Wallet app and the iOS one, I know we've spoke about this on the podcast before, it is a different experience and a different go-through process, and it is a bit of a headache. Sure. Although I am very optimistic about the Dash Pay thing, I trust you guys 100%. One thing that I have in the back of my mind is I'm British. I'm pessimistic about everything, right? Expect the worst, anything else is a bonus. But I just know the approval process of iOS applications can always be so much more troublesome, and Android's a lot more straightforward. So even if Dash Pay does launch in December, we can get it up on Android pretty quick. But with iOS, it's kind of like a question mark. But it sounds like the core team's built some relations, but you just never know, right?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
That's true.
But that's cool. There was an article today. I know I've already asked you about some fuzzed articles today, but someone was asking me this week about private send in Dash Pay, and I don't believe it's actually been said anywhere in concrete whether private send will be integrated in the first version of Dash Pay release. Do you know anything about that, or is that still yet to be decided?
If it has been decided, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I know there was some debates. I actually remember when you did the first video demo of Dash Evolution. I remember, with Chuck when that came out, and there was lots of people asking questions about private send and all sorts. And and when this person asked me this week, I was just thinking, there must be something somewhere, but it's still there. I'll have to get on to Bob Carroll and ask him about that. What made me think of that, there was an article today by Bitcoin Magazine. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. So it's like the headline is like, Dash isn't very private at all, and Bitcoin is just as private as Dash. I mean, it was written by a guy that's a proper Bitcoin maximalist, but there was just so much stuff wrong in the article. I mean,
tell me it was by Leonardo Crespo.
Yes, it was. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. So it was just, there was just so much wrong in it. But I know that has such a large readership. I just don't know how they get away with it. I honestly don't. But they took the Greg Maxwell route, and they put on a video when he was talking about Dash, like LOL and all that sort of stuff. And it's just kind of like, really? But it just shows you, like, all these articles coming out attacking Dash right now, I think they're in fear, Joshua. And I think that's a good thing.
Oh, you know what? I think I said the wrong name. I got to look up now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to
spend enough time on Twitter. I think that name is not somebody that writes it's wrong articles.
Yeah, sorry. This was Aaron. This was Aaron Van.
No, I actually kind of like Leonardo Crespo.
Oh yeah, Leonardo. Yeah, that guy's on Twitter, right? Yes.
No, I actually really like him. I don't know how I got his name mixed up with.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go on Cointelegraph now, and we can.
Yeah. I'm just going to share the link in the actual live chat so everyone knows the article that we're discussing. So the article is called "Battle of the Privacy Coins: Why Dash is Not Really That Private," and I just find this hilarious because although we don't openly advertise that, I mean, it's optional, it's fungibility, it's digital cash, right? If you pay with $20 in a shop, I don't know the history of that $20 note. It's the same thing. I thought Ryan Taylor was really great on an interview, and he was just saying, essentially, you can do with Bitcoin what Dash does on a technical level. It's just that we've just simplified and made that ease of use a lot easier. And the way that he said it, I mean, that's the same thing with the SEC. So, like, if you're going to criticize Dash, you're criticizing Bitcoin, right? Essentially, in terms of the possibilities. So, Yeah. So these articles do get under my skin because people do send them to me and they expect like pitchforks and an angry response. But it just blows my mind that they get so much stuff wrong, like in the masternode counts, the ownership, the origins. And it's like, where do they get this stuff from? Like, are they doing this on purpose? It's because like clearly it's just it just seems like it's an out forward attack on Dash.
I don't know. Yeah. Ah, man, it's really bugging me now. I feel bad for throwing Leonardo under the bus because he's not. I don't think he's a Cointelegraph writer for one thing, but I also don't think that
No, I think he's a guy on Twitter. I've seen him on Twitter,
Yeah.
like liking things. Yeah, I got
cool.
It's easy to get confused. The crypto world's a big place.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah. So privacy thing. I mean, you are quite a big proponent of privacy. I remember on the podcast before we had like a pretty hefty debate. Brian Mastermind was suggesting that, you know, if it meant potentially Dash to get on Coinbase or another exchange, if it, you know, if kind of like ultimatum style, Dash had to retract its privacy for now, would you be for it or against it? And I think you were just like, no, this is how Dash was founded. Like, these are the founding principles. Of course, if you jeopardize that, you jeopardize everything.
Yeah, I still feel that way.
Yeah. So
money needs to be private to be, you know, to be useful. And like even the money we use today, it's not fully private, but it's like mostly private. I can make as many transactions as I want, and you don't get to see what they are unless I want you to. I mean, so the centralized third parties and the people that they work with, they can see the transactions, but as far as like that's the impact on me is pretty minimal there. But cryptocurrencies are, since they are decentralized, if they're not private, they're explicitly public, and that's worse than the money we have now. So it's super important.
Yeah,
this is a funny thing though, because as cryptography like seeps into more and more parts of our lives, we're losing that gray area as far as like how private things are. I think that's why there's all these regulations that are being like cooked up that say you have to give us an encryption backdoor. You have to let us be like the special ones that can bypass the privacy. And this end-to-end cryptography and encryption, I mean, I know that those aren't the same thing, but they kind of make the privacy thing really black and white. And I think that's happening with money as well.
Yeah. Well, it looks like people in the live chat are agreeing with us, which is always a good sign. I'll be worried if they didn't. But also as well, when even protagonists attack Dash in its privacy sense, it's like the only thing they can go for. I'm just like, man, you only think Dash is about privacy. We offer so much more than that. Yes, we've got a perfect track record. Yes, we were out before Monero. You know, we haven't been compromised as of yet. Yet, we're the only crypto in the top 20 that I know of that has funded through the treasury bug crowd for 60,000 independent security experts to look at our code, try and break it. I mean, to make it more robust. We've got money on it. Like, we want people to do it because we want to be as secure and robust as possible. What other cryptocurrency does that? They hide their stuff, right? But if you're going to go big time, we know, you know, if we want to get on that main stage, we have to go through this. And fortunately, you know, touch wood, like nothing major's happened yet. Yet, you know, these other privacy coins that are constantly attacking us, they've been dragged through the mud and had their own issues. The difference is we don't bring them up on a weekly basis, yet they constantly attack us. Yet they seem to be like a one gimmick thing because they've got privacy as their angle. But like, if we're ever going to be adopted into the real world, real mass adoption, real world use, just like in Venezuela, you can't just have one thing. You got to produce the whole package for users, merchants, the whole shabam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
definitely.
And I just feel Dash is the most rounded solution there right now, and it speaks volumes in numbers just in Venezuela alone, just to see this, and Colombia as well. We have to shout out to George Donnelly. August, they did phenomenal. They doubled their number of merchants. So there is something really happening here. And people can just say, well, it's one thing to onboard merchants. Actually, what about the level of transactions, everything else? Yes, that's very true. And but like I see we're doing it, and I see a lot of people pointing fingers, and I just say, well, what are you comparing it to? Are you comparing it to, I mean, because we're competing with fiat currencies. I mean, that's who we really want to replace and compete with, because they're the ones actually being used in the real world. But if you're attacking me from an angle, being a fanboy with your coin, it's like, well, how many merchants do you have? Like, what businesses are using yours? Are you using your transactions? Are you telling me that you would use what you're saying? Well, no, not exactly. So it seems like a lot of people are attacking Dash in saying like evolution's taken forever, right? Oh, more evolution. Like, December's not that far away, yet the same people attacking us, they seem to be pro Lightning Network, and it's like, well, 6 months. Oh, okay, it'll be ready in 2019, maybe towards the end 2019. And it's just like, you're throwing mud, but it doesn't stick. So the thing that you're attacking and trying to propagate in its place is going to take even longer. Like, I just don't understand like where these people are coming from.
I try not to get too tangled up in the worry about that, because the thing is, I see when evolution is out, evolution is only the first dab. This is a platform, remember? So the cool thing about evolution, the platform, is that you can build on top of it. You can build your thing on top of it. And I think that's where the real excitement will be. Like, it is very exciting to have a wallet that does the things that you can do with an evolution wallet. But to me, at least as exciting as that is the possibility of Dash being a platform that other people are excited to build on. Think about like all of the applications that people build in Solidity on top of Ethereum, and the amount of energy and enthusiasm that brought to that platform. And picture that aimed at Dash, which is prepared to scale and which has a much more familiar coding style than having to learn a new language and this kind of thing. I'm pretty excited about that.
Okay, developer question. So that's great that you brought up Ethereum, and you're right. So many people just tapped into that, just plugged in and built projects on Ethereum. But a lot of people are saying, from a developer standpoint, that Ethereum's incredibly bloated and slowed down, because like these repositories in GitHub, there's like over 2,000 in Ethereum or something now, because of all these projects going in. It's just like slow down the network. So can you speak on the Dash front, why that won't happen to Dash? If you know, we get thousands and thousands of projects being built on Dash, why won't it slow down? Why does it slow down Ethereum, but why won't it slow down Dash?
So I'm not as familiar with the with a repository kind of slowdown in Ethereum. I do know that the Ethereum network was suffering from some capacity issues, right? And fees were rising a little bit and that kind of thing. And that's part of the problem there, is that in Ethereum, the calculation is done by the network. You know, that's why Ethereum is referred to as the world computer. And I can see a value in that. But Dash's approach has the network not being a computer, but a storage mechanism, which is a little easier to scale than having to do computation on the network. And so the transactions that you do in evolution, the hard work of the calculations and the computations, that's all happening in your app. You wrote that code yourself. It's not happening on the network. The network stores the results of it in each user's kind of user space where their data is accessible to them. So that sort of offloads the complexity a little bit and turns it back into just kind of like familiar problems that we can solve.
Yeah, I think developers don't even know what's coming yet. I remember in the video demonstration that you did, and I think it was you actually had the spreadsheet, and you was talking about the DApp generator, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, that was so unexpected. But I can see people really using that, because it almost makes the development user friendly as well, right?
I mean, that's part of our focus. Like the target audience for the Evolution app that we're working on is people who want to use the app as a wallet. We're not aiming the app necessarily at developers, but for it to be effective, we don't have to aim it at developers. We just have to use the app to show, here's what the platform can do. The user friendliness for developers comes from having good documentation and simple interfaces so that building an application is straightforward. And we are focused on that as well.
What do you think the biggest obstacle is in having Dash Pay app succeed?
The biggest obstacle.
Yeah. In terms of like a roadblock that could cause issues, or just
I think it depends on which group you're talking about. Since we're going after the mass market uses Dash as money audience, I think the obstacle for them is just the core functionality not existing yet that they're ready to use. You know, they need usernames, they need privacy and instant send working from a mobile device. And that once that functionality exists, then adoption can kick in and take off. And it would be organic adoption like we're seeing now with the merchants in Venezuela and places like that. But we have to get it built. And a lot of that stuff is in progress and like ready, you know, in various stages of readiness. Once we release that removes that obstacle. And I think then the next obstacle just becomes getting it out there, getting people to see it and use it and adopt it. And if they need it badly enough, that part's easy.
And that's the really cool and unique thing about the Dash Pay thing, because even once it's what it comes out, just the foundations that it's built from, it makes it much more easier for third parties then to build their own wallets as well. So even if you was a hater and the Dash Pay app came out and you hated it, you loathed it, I'm sure there's going to be multiple third party wallets being made, you know, all the time as well, right? Because it's that I'm correct, like that makes that process a lot more simple, and that's part of the dips as well, right? They actually make that a lot more achievable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this is really great. I know Joel was really looking forward to 12.4 just for having certain dips. I think it was 3 and 4 to be activated. I think specifically dip 4, because then that will allow third party wallets to be able to, or give them the possibility to enable instant send, private send a lot more easier than it has been before. Now, the process of enabling that, I don't know, but we know it will be easier. So everyone watch this. Don't expect, you know, Edge and Koinomi and Jax to integrate it on the first day 12.4 comes out. However, it gives those tools available, which means just imagine having the ability to be able to send private send on your phone. What other privacy coin can really do that right now?
In a decentralized way. In a
decentralized, yes, because a lot of them, yes, on the mobile wallets, they have to depend on a centralized thing. Thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And for me, I don't actually use private send that much, but I value it so much because when I do use it, I do really, really need it. And then I don't think I could live without it. So it ultimately depends who you're sending stuff to. But I really couldn't do without private send, although I don't use it all the time. Right. Is there anything that you want to bring up? Because I've been burning your ears for about 45 minutes.
No, nothing really that I need to broadcast out to the world or anything like that. I'm just happy to be working on this project. It's really exciting, both in terms of just like what we're working on, but also this is right where I want to be.
Yeah, you know, ever since Bob Carroll came on the Free Amigos, I know I've spoken about this many times. It's like a broken record, but I have noticed a difference of pace within the core team. They're a lot more energized. They're a lot more pinpoint focused. Everyone seems to be really, laser focused on what they should be doing, which is great. So yeah, I'm
pipe up and say it's not because he's running around threatening to beat us either. His focus has been on removing obstacles and like aiming the work in a good direction. At least the focus as far as it's come to me. And so I'm very happy that he's with us.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, excellent. Well, I think we should probably wrap up. So Joshua, thank you so much for being my savior and coming on for my second guest. Otherwise I would have been on my lonesome singing to everyone.
Nice talking to you.
Live Q&A, it could have got very bad. It wouldn't have been good for Dash. We've been playing my keyboard by myself.
Somebody in the chat asked earlier if I was coming to the Freecoast Festival, and sadly I'm not. I have a prior commitment. I'm going to be probably going to the Granite State Comic-Con on Saturday and then helping my in-laws close their pool on Sunday. So no Freecoast Festival, sorry.
Okay, cool. Well, someone in the comments has asked me to put on my Dash shades. And, you know, it's actually thanks to Joshua that I got these. So kudos. And I can't believe someone's asked this in the live Q&A. But Joshua, they said, do you like Bob? Who doesn't like Bob?
Yeah,
Bob's awesome.
I like Bob. I met him. There's a or there was, I don't know if it's still going, but there was a chance that we had as team members to do a talk where we learn how to talk to the public, interviewers and things like that, about Dash professionally. And Bob and I happened to be in the same session, and they were asking kind of like gotcha, you know, ranging from like softballs over to gotcha hard questions. And Bob I guess he got a good impression of my technical understanding and public speaking from that. So he and I hit it off real great.
Excellent. Yeah,
and
Bob.
I got a good impression of him too. Even he's really nice to talk to.
Yeah,
like he's got a clear head on his shoulders, and he's very friendly.
He kind of oozes confidence as well. You could see that he's very experienced and, you know, cool, calm, collected. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this updated roadmap, though. That's going to be awesome. Right. So let's wrap this up. So this was episode 68 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. Joelle is with Naomi in the Freecoast Festival now, probably in a bar somewhere, setting up someone with a Dash wallet. So have fun to there. I'm jealous. I wish I was there with them right now. But and also thank you to Joshua for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. And it's great to see you, actually. It's been a while.
Nice to see you too. Excellent.
And I'm going to retreat to the Dash Community Discord channel. If you would like to join me, it's dashchat.org, and then you'll get an invite to join. And just mention that, hey, where's the after party at? There is 10 spaces available, and it's a video chat format just like this. And we just talk for, you know, a good few hours about anything and everything, all things Dashy. What's not to love? So if you'd like to do that, dashchat.org. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button, smash for Dash. It really helps us out. And yeah, I really, really hope you'll have a
fantastic... slogan needs workshopping.
Yeah. And have a fantastic weekend. And as always, stay positive, stay humble, and most importantly, stay dashy.
Stay dashy.